Todd Peterson has been experiencing some paranormal activity in his doorway, so he decides to try and see if he can record it on camera. When he locks his bedroom door, you can clearly see that there is no string attached to the lock. The door does not open easily and requires some force to push. He takes 4 large steps away from the door and holds the camera steady. Just when he is starting to give up hope, he finally gets the evidence he needs to prove he hasn't lost his mind. The entire video is less than a minute long and has absolutely no editing. There's just no way to fake this video in my opinion, but if you think you have an alternative explanation, please let me hear it. This Redditor was a skeptic at first, but when he captured this video, he was transformed. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Notorious Meseros writes, I heard noises in the garage. I was Snapchatting my fiance who was at work about it. My fiance said it's a ghost, and I was an on the fence believer until this. The footage shows a garage full of stuff. Just as the Redditor is saying he's not sure if he believes in ghosts, something large and heavy falls from a shelf. Some in the comments point out that the object rotates curiously first.
Ghosts. I'm not sure if I believe anymore, but yo, okay.
Before falling, others think a rodent could have knocked it over, or some other critter, and still others think that this dude needs to clean his garage. Is that what the ghost is rudely suggesting here? I guess that's still better than dealing with a poltergeist. This video was taken from a live stream in someone's car. 2 friends are singing a popular song by Adele together, and just goofing off one night while aimlessly driving. I can't play the clip with sound because the song is copyrighted, but pay attention to the baby seat in the back. It starts out obviously empty, as you can see here in the beginning. However, sometime during their singing, something slowly materializes behind them. Let me know if you can see a ghost child at this point. By the time they finally notice, you can already vaguely see the baby's mouth and other facial features. They are absolutely stunned and quickly turn off the stream without saying another word. I have no possible explanation for this video, besides maybe the shadows playing tricks on them. Still, that's a strange coincidence that begs for a further investigation. A YouTube explorer named Adventures with Josh tracks what he later describes as a strange creature sighted while exploring an abandoned house in the middle of some rather scary woods at night. The structure he finds is no bigger than a doghouse and is empty upon investigation, but when he turns around and looks up, he sees it, and it sees him.
What is it? That thing is freaky. Hello?
A mysterious creature with glowing white eyes stares down without a word. I know it's a creature and not someone wearing night vision goggles, because the glowing blank eyes blink multiple times.
I can't even tell what animal that is. It doesn't look like a possum.
A possum was my next guess, but apparently the eyes are too far apart for it to be one. The brow resembles a human more than an animal. I don't know what this strange creature sighting is, but it does seem to be waiting for him to leave, so it can go back to its creepy abandoned home in the middle of the woods. An invasion of the home is violating enough, but what happens when the invader is a squatter? Posted by Slav Gavin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This video was originally published to YouTube by Chino Sky Blue in April of 2017, who explains, when I opened my front door, there was a girl squatting in my apartment.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I had been renting the apartment since March 1st, but had not been staying there. On Friday, April 14th, when I entered my apartment to retrieve some clothes, this was who was in my apartment. At the beginning of the video, the woman in question runs up to the man filming, saying she didn't know she wasn't supposed to be here. She asks if he's going to show anyone this video, and he responds that he's calling the authorities. As the man continues to film, the woman says she doesn't want to get caught up in this, whatever that means, and claims she doesn't remember the previous night and just woke up here. She asks the man not to hold her there, but the man insists that she stay to explain to the authorities what's going on. She starts to panic, but he says he's not pressing charges against her.
I want you to stay here for the police when the police do call. But listen, I'm recording everything. I'm giving you my word that I just want you to explain it to the police, but I'm not trying to press no charges against you.
The only one he has a problem with is whoever has allowed her here. While the girl steps outside, claiming she doesn't know what's going on. That's where the video ends. We'd sure like an update on what happened after this, why this girl was squatting here, who let her in, and what happened as a result. But the channel hasn't posted any further videos. Does anyone have any idea what's going on here? Some in the comments think the man handled the situation well. Others suggest she's crazy and he should be more cautious with the situation. But YouTuber Macron435 perhaps has the most interesting theory. He writes, plot twist, that's her house. Look in the mirror before you go to sleep tonight. Posted to TikTok by Ghost Vault. This creepy security footage shows a man snuggling up beneath his blankets in bed, ready to get a good night's rest, or so he thought. As he lays calmly down to sleep, a figure's face appears in a mirror on the wall above him. The woman has a white face and long dark hair. She appears to watch the sleeping man for a moment, her reflection moving around a bit in the mirror. After a time, she slinks off, but does she ever really leave? I'd be getting the heck out of that place ASAP. Throngs of people gather in the mountain province of Guizhou, China, to witness strange trumpet sounds in the sky. As you listen, tell me what this is and why it would happen way out in the middle of nowhere. The group hears 4 strange noises in a row, and yet none of them actually sees anything scary in the sky. But that's not all. The phenomenon known as sky trumpets is only the first phase. Soon the mountain range is filled with the sounds of a giant unknown creature, an enormous wild cat that's heard all over but seen by no one. And the final phase sounds like 2 giant creatures clashing. There's a clear victor, and one of them sounds like they are falling from the sky. Modern science cannot explain what's behind these noises, which makes you wonder if there's any semblance of truth behind the various ancient mythologies that speak of similar events. In this creepy video, ghost hunter Luan Mendez and his team are investigating this spooky abandoned building.
O Renato aqui passou pra gente.
As they approach, one of the crew sees something, but what they find is not meant to be found.
Opa! Tem alguém aí? Pode ter gente aqui, irmão. Calma, calma, calma. Mostra, irmão!
Despite the freaky scene they enter, and they soon regret it.
Morcego, morcego. Oh, olha!
Ele tá mostrando o dedo.
Tá mostrando o dedo, Júlio.
Tem sangue na boca dele.
Nossa!
Vai, puta caramba. Tá cheio de morcego na cama, cuidado.
After being bombarded by the bat, the team later hears a noise in the abandoned home. They look around to find its source.
Opa! Hã? Não conseguiu ser.
Nossa! Sai daí! Não, Wilson! Sai daí! Sai de dentro! Sai! Sai não! Você tá louco?
Of course they flee, but the mystery of the figure draws them back in.
Oh!
Ah, deve estar com má intenção pra pôr, Zilô.
Olha o prego, ó!
Eu falei, o que eu me rasguei, irmão? Aqui o prego aqui, ó. Tá doendo meu braço, velho.
But the hooded figure has now disappeared. It appears to me as though the crew walked straight into a ritual of some kind. But what type of ritual is the million-dollar question? While exploring an abandoned place, this paranormal crew found a demonic doll. What followed next was shocking. Published by Toppy in December of 2021, Sergey takes this rickety staircase into the attic, where he finds this creepy doll. After handing the doll to Nastia, they decide to take it with them. Sergey says they sat in the haunted home for 15 minutes and heard noises that were unfortunately not recorded. It's unclear if their cameras malfunctioned or what went on, but they have decided to try and communicate with the spirits through the doll. After the doll tells them let's play, the pair decide to pack it up and head home. But before they do, this happens. Is this doll truly possessed? Or was it just exorcised of its demons? The name of this scientific study video from Russia translates to sleep paralysis case number 278. A man is deep asleep until the door opens, and this freakish face peers in. As soon as it sets eyes on him, the poor man begins to fitfully twist and turn. Many people who experience sleep paralysis report seeing evil faces staring at them as they wake up, but this is the first time any such face has actually been recorded. Is it real, or just two people acting? South Korean ghost hunter Yang Ma-hee is exploring an old abandoned haunted house for evidence of the paranormal. What he's caught on tape is up for debate, so let's get right to it. Tell me if you hear a footstep after he finishes his sentence.
계세요? 누구 계세요?
All of the rooms look completely ripped apart, and yet nothing has been taken. Drawers and shelves are overturned, but clothing and personal items remain largely untouched. It looks like the work of poltergeist activity to me, not thieves. A particularly angry poltergeist at that. But perhaps the scariest part of all is this EVP of a man's voice that completely overlaps his own when he touches the old owner's shoe.
이거 화장실이다.
That does not sound like a house settling or anything like that. It's definitely vocal cords. The ghostly voice of someone who is with us in spirit alone. Final analysis? Yeah, this video is about as paranormal as it gets. A lot of scary ghost sightings involve a doorway or a window. They always seem to be haunting a passageway leading into the house. At 31 seconds, a pale apparition leans in to peek through the doorway of this building. Then the mysterious figure is gone, disappeared. I couldn't find anything to explain what was moving in the door. The ghost hunter later explains. After doing some more research, he says this haunted place is home to voices of children laughing and playing, stories that further creep him out. This building was a funeral home before the haunted place was abandoned. The cameraman is too scared to get near the haunted place, let alone go exploring, but a possible long-distance ghost sighting leaves him freaked out. I agree, there is something in the doorway. Whether it's a ghost or not is hard to say from here, but something is there, and that's pretty weird. Here's another strange basement video that doesn't seem to have any good explanation besides the paranormal. A YouTuber named David's Ghost Cams has recently installed a brand new smoke and carbon monoxide detector that seems to be acting quite strangely. First of all, it only goes off when he is downstairs. Second, it tells him that the carbon monoxide levels are at 0%, which means it shouldn't be going off at all. Finally, it tells him to get out of his home.
Okay, so we're gonna go downstairs and I'm going to show you what happened the other night.
Look what happens as soon as he steps foot in the basement.
Carpet blacklighted.
Keep in mind that this alarm has not gone off since the last time he went downstairs. There's obviously no smoke to speak of. This, combined with other weird happenings, has David convinced that his basement is quite haunted. David explains that he once had a house guest who stayed in the basement over 3 months before taking his life. Everyone was surprised. Ever since then, David has noticed things in the house moving around by themselves, strange noises, and most recently, the faulty smoke alarm. Even stranger is that how, as soon as David starts talking about the smoke alarm again, it goes off on its own for a second time. The only explanation I have for this video is that somehow David is manually testing the smoke detector himself and blaming it on a ghost as a prank. However, all of the smoke detectors I've ever seen requires you to physically press a button. This one really does seem to be going off all by itself. This brings me to an interesting point. If David's house guest was a friend, then why would he be telling him to leave his home? Perhaps there is some sort of danger. Perhaps he is trying to warn David of a gas leak or an impending fire. I guess only time will tell. This YouTube clip serves as video evidence of just how daring some people can be, or brave, if you look at it the other way. The footage is likely recorded in Russia's Far East, where a large population of bears roam free, bears that have been known to wander into residential areas. In the video, one of these bears has done just that. A big brown bear is seen pacing around an empty lot, while a Russian man just sits calmly on a bench, not making the faintest effort to move or protect himself. In fact, he seems completely unfazed by the wild animal just feet from him. Surprisingly, the wild bear seems more scared of the Russian than this man is of the bear. As the bear roams closer toward him, he suddenly darts away, though the man never moves an inch, while most people would be shaking in their britches in an all-out panic when within sight of a bear. This Russian man doesn't flinch. Maybe we can learn something from him. If you should ever be unfortunate enough to encounter this wild animal, it's best not to panic. Just don't be as nonchalant as this guy. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is the most terrified he's ever been. The scary footage shows an attic of an abandoned house under night vision. At the beginning of the clip, Connor hears a strange noise. He looks around a little and, from upstairs, captures something in the window on the ground floor. It's glowing. He decides to go investigate. Down at the window in question, there's absolutely nothing there. Nobody, no light. Next, he uses a spirit box to speak with whomever is in the home. Someone asks him to help and let him out. Another voice says to please leave. Admitting this gave him chills. Connor says this is probably the last time he'll return here. As he's walking into an adjacent room, a board is flung at him. He stops in his tracks and turns around to look around him. Nothing is there. In the comments, Connor explains, it was a rock or a brick that barely missed. It flew past the right side of my head. That's why I'm never going back there, because I feel like I could have passed away. No kidding, there's something evil in this house, and it wants you to leave. You'd best listen. It's not often you see two trains so close on the same track, occurring near Smith Falls in Ontario, Canada in 1992. The footage shows a passenger train that needed to hit the emergency brakes while en route to Toronto. The passenger train appears to be traveling at a fairly fast speed when a stationary freight train comes into view down the track. As the commuter has little time to slow, the engineer stumbles out of the locomotive cab. In the meantime, the freighter backs up slowly while the commuter train has managed to brake hard enough to come to a complete stop right in the nick of time. The approach left no more than 6 feet between the locomotives, a close call that makes little to no sense as to why or how it happened. time to break out the sage again. Posted to TikTok by Ratliff Wife, this Ring security footage was captured at around 9:30 p.m. in March of 2022. The video shows the front porch of a home. After a moment, a dark shadow moves across the camera. The shadow reappears several times over the course of a minute. Several bugs appear in the clip, but they are clear. Nothing looks like this shadow. The uploader says their dog was also growling in the room at the time this video was captured. Did it sense something? Some in the comments think so, with Carolyn Mulhall writing, "Pets know, better start praying." And it's true that many people swear that pets seem to have an easier time seeing the paranormal than humans. A father points a camera at his daughter's closet because she is afraid of something in her room. He was probably expecting for it to be nothing, but instead what he's caught on camera after midnight has left him shaken up as she is. She wakes up to a noise from the closet, and then a basketball falls out, half deflated like something had squeezed all the air out. You can clearly see the full closet, and it's not big enough for anyone to hide inside. If this wasn't paranormal, then I'm not sure how it was set up. Three friends are driving down some back roads late at night when they've caught something on video that has people questioning what was on the side of the road.
Oh, no, you don't see that. Oh my god, what is that? Stone, isn't it? Can you hear that growling?
The creature looks at them as they question whether or not it's been hit and needs their help. While it goes deeper into the forest, they feel like they should get out of the car and check to see if it's all right.
God, I'm really scared. Tom! Where is it? Is it in the bush?
A deep growling sound coming from the woods keeps them from exploring any closer. They are pretty sure this isn't someone's dog, like they thought, but they aren't sure what to do next. That's when the decision is made for them. Run.
It sounds really close. Right, get in the car now, Tom.
The comments and likes for this video were split 50-50 between believers and skeptics. I might have thought this was real if I watched it just one time, but upon closer analysis, it's pretty obvious this was somebody in a creature costume on their hands and knees. When you look at their feet at 22 seconds, there are no claws, and you can tell this is a costume that you step into, or at least that's what I think. Tell me what you make of this bizarre encounter caught on a full moon that night. Usually when you're in solitary confinement, you're, well, solitary. This TikTok video shows that's not always the case. In the video, an inmate stands behind bars. He's looking out through the bars and is supposed to be alone, but when he steps out of the way, a dark figure appears to be crawling on the floor behind him. It moves out of the way, blocking itself from view behind the inmate. The figure looks human-shaped, but not really human. Many in the comments believe it could be the inmate's demon that landed him in prison. Others think it's the negative energy attached to him. I guess the odds of an actual person sneaking into jail are unlikely. What do you think is going on here? A security guard is patrolling the San Francisco College campus when he catches a glimpse of an all-black figure moving fast. He quickly rounds the corner and finds absolutely nothing there. Notice how the silhouette is traveling in a straight line at a high rate of speed and has no time to run up the steps or to hide on the right before the security guard catches up with it. I don't see any jump cut editing either, so I think this could really be an actual ghost. A watchman is sleeping in his chair at around 1 in the morning when a special visitor wakes him up with a racket. Published by Wokun High Official in March of 2022, the watchman enters the road and finds nothing. After zoning out again, something drops into his lap from the sky. Again, he looks for the culprit but finds nothing. Getting some more shut-eye, the motorcycle now starts to move on its own, and then the cane in his hands is kicked out from under him. When a distraction in the bushes wakes him yet again, he checks it out but again returns to sleep. That's when the woman in white enters the frame. She walks eerily past down the road, one arm outstretched to hold up her robe. She then re-enters, approaching the sleeping man. She sits and watches him a moment before vanishing. One of his legs is kicked out from under him. He ends up on the ground. Is this night watchman destined to be up all night? It certainly seems like this lady in white doesn't want him to sleep. Ignorance is bliss, and sometimes it's best that certain things remain invisible to the human eye. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex. This video was taken at the haunted Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. Originally posted on YouTube in March of 2020, Tex writes, I have been listening to creepy stories and been watching YouTube videos about ghost investigations and experiences since they existed, which resulted in me paying more attention to my surroundings, heightening my awareness. The Queen Anne Hotel has some history. Located on Sutter Street in San Francisco, initially built as a girls' boarding school, the Queen Anne Hotel is said to be haunted by the former headmistress, Mary Lake. Her office at room 410 is believed to be the most haunted room in the building. The uploader of the video booked this room to stay in overnight. In preparation for the stay, she bought a FLIR thermal cam for her iPhone. She duly notes that the hotel is charming as heck, and she didn't feel anything particularly unsettling while there. That is, until she thermal cammed room 410. She tested out her thermal cam on her husband, on electrical sockets, water lines, and other hot and cold spots. Then she entered the bathroom. Pointing her thermal cam towards the half-closed shower curtain, she started to see a figure in the thermal footage next to her that she believed appeared from behind the curtain. As you can see, there is her own thermal image in its reflection, and not too far away right beside it, another full-sized figure. Could it be headmistress Mary Lake herself? When going through pictures she took of the room, the uploader also discovered this creepy face in the wallpaper. Do you see it? It's almost like the room is watching you. A man is traveling down a road in Indonesia when his path is blocked by a small child. He stops just in time, only to find the person has vanished. It looks like a little girl with slumped shoulders and all of her hair in front of her face. He gets off his motorcycle to look around for her, perhaps worried that he knocked her back into the woods, and then this happens. She appears for only a split second and then disappears. I understand why he would get off of his motorcycle. If he was worried about her safety and wanted to look for her. But if this were real, then why did he run away instead of climbing back on his motorcycle? Scared or not, I think most people would have climbed back on their bike and taken off, so I'm not so sure about this one. She also kind of looks like the girl from The Ring, so maybe this is just CGI.
What is that? That's very
Is that lightning? What the is this?
One night in 2018, this intense blue light was seen flickering in the sky all across New York City. The light was so intense that you could see its reflection on the water, as if it were the middle of the day. To the left and right, the sky was still dark, but in the middle was a blazing blue event of massive proportions. The official explanation is a power generator failure caused by an arc of electricity to shoot up into the sky. But here's the thing, there was no blast, no fire, no one hurt. Firefighters didn't even examine inside of the building it allegedly happened in, according to news reports. And when you look up stories about the incident, a large number of the headlines seem to go out of their way to specifically mention it was not aliens. Kind of makes you wonder. A YouTuber named Kelsey Davies is investigating a haunted house in a neighborhood in California with a particularly nefarious history. After setting up a flashlight in the middle of an otherwise empty room, Kelsey and her team discover an oddly shaped anomaly traveling clockwise. Nothing is dangling above them to reflect light, so like them, I have no idea what this is, but I'm open to your guesses.
It's moving, its shape is shifting.
Yeah, this thing's been moving for like a long time. We don't know what it is.
At 1 minute and 55 seconds, Kelsey claims that the object turned into the outline of a face. I think it still looks the same as before, but tell me if you can see what she means.
Maybe I like see outlines of it. Like it looks like a head. Oh my god, you can see it's like a body.
A strange creature sighting was caught on camera, moving fast along the Powell River in BC, Canada. The unknown creature was seen by many, but only one witness, a man named Oscar, was fast enough to have captured video evidence of one of the scariest moments of his life. He fully admits what he saw on the lake haunts him to this day. He saw it coming from half a mile away, a mysterious figure moving fast underwater. He says by the time he ran into his RV camper for a camera and came back, it was already moving past him, so he only caught but a few mysterious and unexplained moments on video. On one hand, this does look like something strange and mysterious slithering just beneath the water's surface, like a gigantic sea snake. On the other hand, this video looks like something getting pulled by a boat, a tow line perhaps. The fact that you only see the last 17 seconds is kind of suspicious, but would make sense if he had to run and get a camera. It all depends on how much you believe him. Oscar goes on to explain that this lake is 1,200 feet deep in some areas and was once connected to vast ancient glaciers where deep sea channels could have once led to mysterious and unknown creatures. Perhaps this unexplained video is one of these deep sea creatures coming up for a visit. It sounds like an interesting legend, but I think I would need more video evidence than this to fully believe it. And trust me, if I find more videos about the monster of Powell Lake, I will be sure to analyze them. In the meantime, tell me what you think of his bizarre sighting, especially if you have any idea what this unexplained video could be. Diane thinks she has caught a ghost on video crossing her living room around 3 a.m. The ghost is a woman with long hair whose back is turned. For months, Diane has been feeling something paranormal in her house, and if you look closely, you'll see her cat Noah wake up and look to where the ghost of a weird woman just walked by. There are no other paranormal videos on Diane's channel at all. The rest is 3 years of content about a niche hobby that has nothing to do with the spirit world, which makes me think it could be a real paranormal incident. With that said, I found another video that shows she roughly has the same hair length as the woman who says she was a ghost, so I'm on the fence with this one. Redditor editor 1289 is wondering if film footage can cause a haunting. Let's watch it and judge for ourselves. It looks like the figure of a little girl crossing from one room to another. Here's a bit more context from the Redditor. While some say the answer is yes, others think that this clip in question is doctored. They say it looks like a girl who's been blurred out in post-editing. The Redditor claims that the man whose house this is lives alone, and other footage also shows the little girl, as well as furniture moving and strange voices and laughter. Do you take his word for it? In my opinion, the figure in this video does look like a solid one that's been blurred out, but as for the original question, I do believe you can become haunted by watching genuine haunted footage, so my viewers had better be prepared. A strange creature straight out of The Lord of the Rings was caught on camera in the woods, published by SEOOOSST in April of 2022. The video appears to have been captured at dawn. The cameraman is walking through the woods. As he scans the area, his camera passes over this tree trunk and spots this mysterious creature hidden within. The creature has long pointy ears, big beady eyes, and grayish skin. Frankly, he looks a bit like Gollum. Upon seeing it, the cameraman immediately runs off. Is this a cryptid, a gnome, or is this Gollum looking for his precious? You might consider calling the cops on the intruder trespassing on your property at night, but when it turns out to be this woman, maybe you should call a ghost hunter instead. Posted to Twitter by Daniela Guerrero, she writes in Spanish, "Okay, my parents have a security company, and how about the officials of a condominium have just passed them a heavy video of what happened last night. The video shows a large yard with a small pool. In the distance, a woman dressed in white crosses the property. She has dark hair and moves steadily forward until she's closer to the camera. She strides across, clearly on a mission, and that mission is to evaporate in plain sight. The phantom trespasser disappears into the night as she rounds a corner. What does she want here, and where did she go? All questions and no answers. Perhaps that's what we're supposed to have. Are there ghosts all around us? That's what Tesla's tracker technology has me thinking." Posted to TikTok by Piero1519. This Tesla owner entered a cemetery where his vehicle's technology detected life or non-life nearby. A figure can be seen appearing digitally on the car's screen, clearly ahead into the far right of the car.
And look at this. And nobody's there. The cemetery. Wow. Wow.
So I need to, it shows it like a
Flashing his camera to the location indicated, Piero shows that there's no one there at all. All that's there are a couple of gravestones and an otherwise empty graveyard. Some in the comments are saying that the Tesla assumes the tombstone is a person, since it doesn't have a tombstone detection feature. But wouldn't the Tesla then detect people in anything human-shaped that its technology hasn't been taught to identify? That would just be weird. TikToker Namaste says, "Ghost detection is an added feature of Tesla," but Leah Jordan takes a turn writing, "It's all fun and games till it gets in the car with you. Let's hope that ghostly terror remained in its eternal bed. Someone's life was taken here, and a shadow person remains. Is it the person who passed, or the person who ended their life?" Published in December of 2021, Drana and Mike's paranormal adventures entered this house and got more than they bargained for. While exploring the home, the spirit speaks to them. The voice sounds like it's whispering, "Help me out." As they continue to communicate with the spirits in the darkness, Drana feels something touch her on the shoulder.
Do you know any of our names?
Did you just touch me on my shoulder?
Someone said me.
Later, in another room, Drana and Mike are talking with someone off camera, and the camera scans from one side of the room to the other. This is when you see it.
On the throat.
Where they're all
In the next room over, the shadow appears. It looks like it's ducking behind the door, and it disappears in an instant. Is there a lost soul in this haunted home? And if so, who does it belong to? I know I wouldn't go back there after seeing this, but I do really think this place needs further investigation. Is Lainey and Ben's poltergeist getting stronger? Watch this video and judge for yourself. As usual, the poltergeist seems to be most active in the kitchen.
Activity more and more aggressive.
He has even resorted to ruining their dinner.
Poltergeists just seem to be so frustrated.
Oh, black them.
And he isn't finished. It goes without saying that Lainey and Ben share space with one of the most active poltergeists on YouTube. I don't know if Dave and Andy are becoming more aggressive due to anger, or if their YouTube following is cheering them on. Are the Owen Nagat Caves the most haunted place on Earth? YouTube team Dark Arts TV is determined to find out in this chilling video. They arrive at the mysterious mouth of the cave. Do they dare enter? Perhaps they shouldn't have. While inside, they hear a mysterious whistle.
Oh my, did you just hear that? The whistle. Even.
Using a spirit box, they're delivered this creepy message.
Killed by her. Killed by her.
Frightened.
They then hear another whistle.
Did you just hear that? Did you just hear that?
They capture a recording that puts them on edge.
Get out, kill him.
No, I'm hearing get and then get out.
What?
Yeah.
It sounds like get out.
Nice to the camera.
I hear what Carl heard on that one. They then discover these random trinkets shoved in a hidey hole.
Cursed items, are they?
We don't know, do we? It just seems a bit random. There's a shell in there as well. Why is that there?
Wrong. I wonder, look at the offerings.
And they find these random markings on the wall, followed by a moan.
Oh, do you hear that?
Yeah, moan.
Yeah, the moan. We can hear you.
Using headphones and a version of the Estes method, Sarah gets really freaked out by what she hears. I think they should beware.
That's the first actual voice that came through. First I heard scary, but it was weird. But that was the clearest gut, it was like a man's voice going, beware. That was beware.
It's interesting because I'm pretty much taught in it now.
Each message they receive from the beyond gets creepier by the minute. Number 9. Don't accept help from just anyone. They might not be what you think. YouTuber Scaryfield shares this creepy video which is trending in the Hindi-speaking YouTube community. The video is actually from YouTube channel True Horror Stories POV, and this horror story occurred on a dark road at night. In the beginning, the woman starts having car trouble in a cursed place.
Mati dah pula.
After pulling to the side of the road, a random stranger stops to help her.
Oh, cik. Kereta saya daripada tadi tak tahu asal tak boleh start. Dia termati-mati daripada saya jalan tadi. Tak tahu apa pasal.
Boleh cik tolong?
The guy checks out a few things, but each time the woman attempts to start her car, it's still having trouble.
Tak ada lah. Tak boleh. Tak tahulah asal.
The man then tells her that it's not a mechanical problem.
Tapi tadi kereta saya betul-betul mati. Bukan kan?
Dia ikut ni.
Benda ikut? Benda apa sih?
Cuba tengok dalam kereta sekarang.
Dalam kereta?
But rather that something attached itself to her on the cursed route she took, and maybe he was right.
Cik!
While this is just a reenactment, these incidents are said to be based on true events. Well, if this happened to me in real life, I can't imagine I'd live to tell the tale. If you're out paddleboarding, watch your sea legs. Published in April of 2022, YBS Youngbloods writes, "A humbling reminder for myself that it's their ocean and I'm just a visitor. The paddleboarder is at first enamored with a giant sea turtle.
Turtle, big turtle! Well, I'm right to think of it.
But soon that excitement turns to panic. A huge shark is seen making his way over and passes below the man's board. When the shark does this, the last place you'd want to be right now is in the water.
Oh, there's a turtle! Uh-oh. Oh!
While many in the comments are panicking, commenter Jethro X has a different perspective. He writes, "For anyone wondering, this is just how we have fun in Australia. When ghosts need a clean getaway, they simply possess moving objects. Sometimes these objects are motor vehicles, or so this clip would suggest." Published by Truebill in January of 2018, the short video purports to show the paranormal possession of a car parked in a parking garage. This white vehicle rocks side to side, its doors open and shut, and its alarm starts going off, all while no one is near it. Even the windshield wipers start swiping, while its back door flings open and closed. Soon the car's paranormal activity sets off every car alarm in its row. The car is later seen driving through the garage, apparently without anyone at the wheel. When the security guard sees there's no driver, he races off. Is this a driverless vehicle, or is a ghost taking this car out on a joyride? One is a lot scarier than the other. Two friends are walking around the haunted Matlock Cemetery in Iowa when they see something possibly watching them from afar, a white head that's barely visible behind a tree.
This is scary. You see that? Oh my god! What? Did you see that? What was that?
They aren't sure what it is until they go up to the tree. It was behind and get a closer look, or should I say it gets a closer look at them.
Oh my god! What was that? Oh!
Here it is again, a man wearing baggy clothes and a possibly white mask, though his face is too blurry to tell. I don't know if this was a maintenance worker, one of their friends, or a genuine creeper looking to do them harm, but I do think they made the right choice getting out of there, and I hope for their sakes they never went back. This doll looks innocent enough, but is it? Molly, also known as Akka, is pure evil. Here is proof. The conversation starts out simple.
One of the objects I've put near your vessel. Thank you. Thank you, Molly.
When the paranormal investigator presses further, she receives a confirmation.
Molly, can you just confirm that this is you? Yeah.
She also reveals her true feelings.
Are you negative and grumpy? No. Are you misunderstood? Thank you.
And then the question we'd really like to know the answer to.
Do you wish to harm anyone in this house? Yes.
But Molly doesn't just want to harm anyone. She's got a specific person in mind.
Do you wish to harm my son, Sam? Yes.
It's probably time to take your son Sam and get out of Dodge. Laughter is the last thing you want to hear in a cemetery. Published by Alberto Del Arco in December of 2021, this terrifying clip captured in a cemetery will leave you on edge. As the crew converse with each other, a creepy, high-pitched laugh is heard in the background.
¿Oíste? Sí. Hola?
They try to contact the spirits in the graveyard using a spirit box. One of them distinctly says Kila, which is the word that in Portuguese, and continues to speak, saying hi to the team.
Hola, ¿hay alguien aquí que quiere hablar con nosotros? Hola.
He later says his name is George.
¿Cuál es tu nombre? George?
What does George want? And was that who he heard laughing? We're left with many questions, but not many answers. A YouTuber named Hello Ryan Holmes lives in a house that you and I want no part of. Scary noises have become part of a daily ritual stemming from paranormal activity, or so he suspects. So when it happens again, Ryan grabs a camera to see if he can catch a ghost on video.
Did you just hear that? I definitely just heard somebody run up the stairs.
Ryan thinks he hears creeping noises of a ghost running up the stairs. Ghost or not, he is definitely not alone. Camera in hand, Ryan gets no further than the kitchen before he realizes...
What the
all of the cabinets have mysteriously opened on their own, and when he goes to close them...
Why the is everything open? What the What the
He turns around only to find that the ghost has moved every object in his kitchen back to where it was. It looks normal at first, but I think there is an editing cut here at 2 minutes when he briefly zooms into the cabinet for no reason at all. He could have stopped recording, moved all of the objects, and then started recording again to make it seem like it was all done in one take. Imagine playing hide and seek with a mysterious cult. Published by Lego Papa TV in March of 2020. This scary video shows a cultish encounter at a house where lives were taken. Lego arrives at the house that he plans to explore on this fateful night. It looks 100% haunted. He tours the house, arriving at a bathroom in which he says the 71-year-old woman who lived here would take the lives of her victims. He says she buried them in her backyard. As he's about to head upstairs, he hears something, but he assumes it was just animals.
Probably animals, because I poop here.
Once he gets up there, though, he hears more noise.
Hello?
While using the spirit box on his phone to try and communicate with the passed away in the bathroom, he sees a flashlight beam hit the wall. When he turns around, he sees many beams of light, and he thinks it could be police, other urban explorers, or maybe something even more nefarious. So he rushes upstairs and hides in another bathroom. Shortly after, he sees flashlight beams on the wall and hears footsteps. They apparently don't see him. After waiting in the darkness for a time, he sneaks downstairs, and while in the basement, he hears more evidence that he's not alone in the house. Footsteps sound on the floor above. He gets out of there as quickly as possible and does manage to escape. When finally safely outside, he turns back to look at the house. They are looking for him, whoever they are. Lego writes, "This is probably the scariest moment of my life. I have no doubt about that." YouTuber Hassan Barbar is used to encountering mysterious and paranormal anomalies. When he enters a room of this abandoned place, something is hiding beneath the covers.
شو يقولوا انه بني ادم ولا ايه؟ يقولوا انه بني ادم اخوان ولا ايش؟ طب اسمع، طب كيف اخذت لي حرام من جوا؟ طب احكي معي، انت احكي.
The figure is rocking and moaning, and Hassan gets closer to investigate. As he approaches, he senses something else behind him.
بسم الله بسم الله.
And still he gets closer. After finding the figure has disappeared, Hassan continues to investigate the rest of the home, and something starts to bark at him.
طب اظهر قلب قرد هي. طب انتوا كم واحد هون؟ كم؟
The thing continues to taunt him.
بسم الله. طب اظهر لي.
Then things grow even more active.
طب شو اسمك انت يا قرد؟ شو اسمك؟ ايه؟ اسمك؟
But as to what is making that noise, it never becomes clear. While a lot of this video is mysterious, this cut makes me skeptical. Clearly, there was a cut in the video there, so I assume whatever form was beneath the blanket could escape. Still, I really enjoy the disturbing atmosphere of this investigation. A fire to warm the darkness isn't always a good thing. Posted on TikTok by official GPT and Instagram by GPT official, this clip was captured during the Ghost Panic team's live stream. The footage shows a man shouting into the wilderness. At first, you don't know what's going on as he spins around, but after a time, you see a figure perched in a nearby tree. The figure blends in with its surroundings until it lowers its arms. Then you can distinctly see its face, hair, and body as it remains perched on its limb. As the man talks to it, the figure stands up. Then inexplicably, a fire is lit at its feet. The cameraman quickly flees the scene. It's unclear what the figure was and how the fire was lit, but by the cameraman's panicked reaction, I have an idea that this figure was nothing less than evil. Sometimes ghosts are just forewarning you about what's around the corner. YouTuber Paranormal Voyages shares this freaky short in which he's speaking to a spirit through a spirit box.
I just seen a shadow. Who's that? Was that you?
Whoa!
The spirit literally tells him the bat's in, and a moment later,
whoa!
Well, the bat's in. It feels pretty hard to be a skeptic after that series of events. Things are about to get creepy on this CCTV video taken from a restaurant somewhere in China. A man looks in the cooler and decides to help himself to something else. A while later, he takes a seat near a woman who's looking the other way. 26 seconds is when he looks over and then he goes for it, taking something in her jacket, probably a purse, and walking straight out the door. He's fumbling around for quite some time and likely has to undo a button or two to abscond with her belongings. If only she had turned around the other way, he would have been caught in person and not just on camera. For those of you who think this isn't a scary video, try getting stranded in another country with no passport, money, credit cards, or phone. That's a situation only for the brave if I've ever heard one. A YouTuber named Ben S is low on gas, so he pulls into a nearby station. He always wears a GoPro helmet when riding, and as he is fumbling with the card reader at the pump, it records something that he will have a tough time explaining later. A shadow passes by close enough to make Ben react. He turns around only to find nothing. What's really strange to me is how, if you pay close attention, you'll see the shadow disappear before it even makes it all the way across the pump. It's going from left to right normally and then suddenly vanishes somewhere in the middle. I know that shadows can sometimes play tricks on you, so I'm not going to say that this is 100% paranormal. If you have a scientific explanation as to how this could have happened, please share. Until then, I am inclined to take Ben's word that this was a phantom figure. A YouTuber named Backpacker Tampan and his friend Tom go ghost hunting in Indonesia. They want to explore an old hotel, but to get there they have to go through some scary woods and cross a narrow bridge over rushing waters, a bridge with some sketchy areas missing. A few planks too many if you ask me. When they get inside the hotel, they find themselves in awe of the sheer size of the place and somehow get split up. This room in particular absolutely refuses to stay in focus, and it feels to him like someone could be near. And someone in the comments says that a shadow person is hanging around the doorway outside of the room 4 seconds later. It's nothing more than his reflection if you ask me. Weird, but not paranormal. But then he records movement across the doorway at the exact moment he thinks Tom is near.
Maybe he's downstairs. Oh, very dark, I can see. Tom?
Whatever this is we're looking at, it isn't Tom. It seems to follow him from floor to floor wherever he goes. Eventually, Tom is found, and together, at that moment, they sense a third presence standing next to them.
Okay, we might gonna record here, I think. Can you do it with your phone? Recorder.
I think it sounds like editing because you can hear a bass line if you listen closely, like it's part of a song.
Can you do it with your phone?
Tell me if you think this really happens, or do you think it was added later?
Can you do it with your phone?
Creepy videos don't get much scarier than the creature caught lurking around Anton Meyer's house. No, his house is not haunted, at least not in the traditional sense, but this scary moment will definitely haunt him for the rest of his days in South Africa. The animal control expert needs to move the snake into a cylinder containment unit on the floor, but as more and more of the creature stretches forth, I don't think it will fit. I wanted to know if this is a snouted cobra like he says it is. If so, these snakes are highly venomous and probably the absolute last species you'd want in your home, let alone in such an intimate area. Oh, and by the way, according to the description of this video, the handler accidentally lost his grip and the snake made the watery retreat back to where it came from. Hopefully it doesn't make a second appearance when they least expect it, but since cobras tend to be territorial during certain parts of the year, it's likely to return at some point. This Great Dane is walking through the kitchen when a small object crosses its path. Another orb passes by and immediately gets noticed. You don't have to be an animal lover to tell this dog is clearly surprised and uncertain at what it's seeing. The animal freezes in place and then switches into hunting mode, tracking something invisible all throughout the house. I guess the dog could just be reacting to an insect or something, but that doesn't explain one last part, which occurs approximately 1 minute and 23 seconds into the video. This is the exact moment when the headlights of a passing car illuminate a shadowy figure as it runs from left to right. Many people believe this could be a supernatural presence manifesting itself as a shadow person. This, combined with the dog's behavior, certainly seems to create a strong enough case for the paranormal. Posted by Cosmic Messenger 01, this video teaches you that what's ever lurking in the shadows isn't what you should fear. The shadows themselves are. Taken at the Campo Grande MS Penitentiary in Brazil, the grainy footage shows a dark gray barracks, appearing empty at night, although it's likely not empty, as clothes hang on wires out of each of the windows. Now watch on the bottom floor as something appears to be moving on the side of one wall. The shadow person begins to move upward before moving sideways and appearing to duck down behind some clothing. You can see the shadow duck out again, moving in an amoeba-like style towards the wall and upward, before the shadow disappears out of sight. What is going on here? Is there a prison ghost here? Whatever it is, I don't want to find out. Why did the time traveler cross the road to get to the other side of the space-time continuum? Published by Datos Curiosos in October 2021, this cryptic video has me veering off course. The short dashcam video shows a semi ahead driving down the highway. Suddenly it veers to the left right into the next lane, making cars move out of the way in the opposite direction. Soon it becomes clear why. A man materializes out of nowhere as the semi pulls around him. He walks so slowly across the road that the car far behind the semi catches up with him. The man is dressed in white and is staring straight ahead, walking in a very upright manner, stiff as a board. He appears as though he's in a trance and doesn't seem to be fazed by what just happened. Who is this man, and how did he seemingly appear out of nowhere? Only time will tell. In the meantime, I think something paranormal has to be going on here. If you're about to blame some nighttime mischief on your pet, hold off for a hot minute and watch this. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, Barton writes that his cat has been knocking things over at night for the past few weeks and waking them up, which is unlike him because he's a quiet cat during the day. So they set up a surveillance camera to try and catch him in the act. This is what they found. The first segment shows something fluttering the leaves of this flower on the table, but we know it's not the cat because he passes by the couch to the left. Later, as the cat is sitting on the couch, a dish towel falls from the fridge. Then an object is heard moving in the kitchen, and a close-up reveals the thing jiggling on its own on the counter. At the same time, a strange shadow appears on the front of the counter, although it's not clear if it's the cat being alerted to the sound or something else. Soon after, another object falls loudly from the countertop. Thus, we cannot see too well, nor do we know where the cat is. Then, after a strange orb moves through the scene, something else moves on the counter and is pushed to fall to the floor, all while the cat is perched on the table far away, watching. Then another object falls loudly next to it, which scares even the cat. This one wakes the owner up, who calls his cat a pain, but after watching the video in the morning, we're sure he regrets that. Was this cat, as some Redditors suggest, just protecting her owner at night? Real Victoria is woken up by her cat hissing at something it sees in the bedroom window. The cat goes quiet when she starts recording, but it's definitely focused on some activity outside. She says this creepy looking character was looking in through her window, and he very well may have been, but at 4 seconds he also seems to be looking up and trying to get the attention of someone in the room above him. In fact, I think I hear him shout something and whistle loudly at the beginning of this video. What is he saying here? Eventually, he steps away and out of sight. I guess he either saw the camera, or he finally got the attention of someone in the unit above. Whatever he was up to, having a complete stranger anywhere near where you live at 5 in the morning is oddly terrifying. With that said, I do believe her, and I hope Real Victoria stays safe until her lease is up and she can get out of there. YouTuber D-Dog Michael is back at it again, exploring this abandoned place, and he is not alone.
내리지? 뭐야? 거기 누구세요? 누구세요, 거기?
After being scared to his wits' end, Michael enters another dark room and sees this. Did that hand just confront him? The mystery continues as he enters a room of mirrors.
뭔 소리야? 뭐야? 나 지금
After this terrifying encounter, he keeps on going.
누구 있어요, 혹시? 혹시 누구? 와! 잠깐, 본 사람, 방금 본 사람.
Someone is there for sure. And that someone is stalking him.
그만이요.
Michael hears both a girl and a man in this haunted place, but are they good or evil? I think that he'd better hedge his bets because he can't be sure. The paranormal boys experience crazy paranormal activity in this place frozen in time. As they're speaking to the spirits, they hear something.
Did you hear that?
That was definitely a knock. Later, using a spirit box app, they capture this. As they continue speaking, they're sent some terrifying messages.
If you're in this room, can you affect some of the devices we put down? Where are you, Tom? Was that Ben?
And then the spirits respond directly.
Copy this. You joking me? Did you hear that?
Still, it warns them.
Hey? Yeah, it's just sitting in the middle of the sofa. What was that? Dead. I'm not dead yet.
There's someone upstairs.
Can you hear that up there? Living. Can you hear that up there? Living.
Since the team won't listen to the spirit's warnings, it takes matters into its own hands.
I thought you pushed my arm then. Something just... Jeffrey. Something just pushed my arm.
What pushed his arm? I think it was Jeffrey, but in the end, it could be any one of the demons haunting this place. While this ghost hunter explored a cathedral, he was met with something unexpected: the devil. Ghost hunter Red Fox set up a Ouija board inside this haunted cathedral and soon felt like he was being watched.
무언가가 여기 있을까요?
And not only watched, but something is clearly present. Watch the playback. Nothing is in the hallway from where the sound was coming from. And then that nothing is coming straight at him. The playback again shows nothing there. Until the big reveal. The playback reveals all areas of the cathedral on camera while this occurred. Later, the ghost hunter discovers his Ouija board has been misplaced. Looks like the devil has left the chat.
지금 거의 해가 뜨고 있습니다.
A Quarrel with a poltergeist has only one outcome: you lose. Published by Scary Desk in September of 2021. The computer shop owner is battling for his life. The man is seen on an upper balcony of his shop at night. It sounds like it's raining. He puts his hood on and heads back toward his shop, but the minute he steps toward the door, he is thrown onto his back, falling onto the ground. You see he appears to have been pushed by a shadowy force. A young man runs to his aid from an adjacent office. As the man points in fear, what did he see? The young man looks inside but finds nothing. He then helps the owner limp to safety. What did this to this poor man? And is it the end of it? Or is it just the beginning? A man in Indonesia goes exploring the most haunted places of his home country to unlock supernatural myths of a different official nature, hence the channel's name. Out here, the ghost world has formed communities deep in the rainforest. He knows this place well and senses one near.
Allahu Akbar.
Standing before him is an eerie apparition that gives me anxiety, like something has gone wrong. The paranormal exploration does not end with him running away. He has become strangely at ease around them, less terrified over time, or maybe okay with them all along.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu la ilaha illallah.
After a little more exploring, our adventurer finds a second spirit and does not come as near. He might be afraid, but I think he's simply respecting their space. I did some research and this creepy video looks like a possibly real ghost sighting of a Pocong spirit, seen mostly in Indonesia and Malaysia. It's said that the spirit's appearance under the shroud depends on the current state of their physical body. In other words, if he were to look underneath, he would see how rotten they were, but he dares not do such a thing. These are his ancestors, and he might have wanted to show us that there are real ghost videos on the internet if you know where to look, and that a ghost haunting the woods doesn't automatically mean it's one of the scariest places in the world. It's a really good point, but this scary video's got me freaked out nonetheless. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.